Mr. Lee.
Okay, folks. So today we're back at it with another Let's Talk video. This time I won't be filming myself for different reasons. I'm not going to get into those right now, but I have to do it this way this time. Today's topic is Luke Ross's VR mods for Mafia 1, 2, and 3, the definitive editions, as well as Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5. All of them have been taken away from his Patreon page because he has received a DMCA from Take-Two Interactive. So Take-Two Interactive, they pretty much are the publishers, or what you would call them. Like they, I really don't know what the hell they do. However, they are the people who sit with the big money, and they decided that Luke Ross should take down his mods for these games. I think they're the publisher, right? So I think it's like, I don't know what a DMCA is. Like, I'm Norwegian, so I don't know how this stuff works. I live in Norway, and here we have different rules. However, he had to take his mods down. So now we have no VR mods at the moment, as far as I know, for GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Mafia. 1, 2, and 3, the definitive editions. What does this mean? I know some people really love GTA 5 in VR. I tried it, and I did have a great experience with that game. I have not tried Mafia 1, 2, nor 3 in VR. I have tried Red Dead Redemption 2 in VR, and I've played that one much more than GTA 5 actually. However, personally, I mainly play Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I've talked about this on the channel before. That is my favorite VR mod of all time. Like, it's not necessarily that like, the reason why that is my favorite VR mod of all time is of course because the world itself is beautiful and it's awesome to experience in VR. I love science fiction, and that has something to do with it, like the game itself. And there's so many other mods for Cyberpunk, right? So that's kind of why. Like, you can even get a flying car in Cyberpunk. Like, the modding for that game is just insane. So having a VR mod on top of it is just like, I don't know if I would love it as much if it wasn't for the fact that I could get the performance from using other mods alongside of Luke Ross's VR mod. So I don't know how that actually is with like GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. I thought initially that Red Dead Redemption 2 in VR was the only thing I was ever gonna play after I heard about it, right? I didn't get that much, like, I didn't get terrible performance with it or anything, but I just never like got totally into it for some reason. Maybe I've played it too much in flat screen, I don't know. So personally, I don't really care that much about those games, but I really do care about what it means for VR and what it means for Luke Ross. And there's like different things to consider in that aspect. Like, for one thing, will he have to take down all of his mods? Like, if this catches on, are other publishers gonna do the same thing? That's one thing. Like, what would this mean for VR if other game publishers start doing this, and what will it mean for PC gaming in general, like modding, right? And if you think about Luke Ross's VR mods, as far as I know, he doesn't do anything to the source code in any of his games, right? Any of his mods. So it's purely like injecting something into the game. So, like, then if you think about the games, the Unity games that have VR mods, like there people actually go into the actual source code, right? Like I've tried that myself, like with the mono, the games that are made with a mono scripting backend. Those of you who are into Unity know what I'm talking about. There you can read the source code if you have something like DNSpy. So if they deem something like what Luke Ross is doing as being illegal in some way, then what the hell? Then we can just kiss goodbye all of the other like VR mods with motion controllers or whatever, and that sucks so badly because last year it's really been like if you're a PC gamer and you have a VR headset, the flat screen to VR scene has made the whole thing worth it. Like if you ever was thinking about getting yourself a 3080 or a 3090 or 4080 or 4090, if you have a PC and a VR headset, like the flat screen to VR scene has just been growing and growing, and like now you can play, like now I'm talking about something different than Luke Ross, but you can like play Resident Evil 7, and it's even better than the official VR mode for the game. Like the mod made by Preydog it's better than the official mode. So that is like that. I think that has something to do with it. Like the big time publishers have started noticing this flat screen to VR scene, and that people in that scene are so good at what they do that they're not able to compete. So what I think is going on is I think that Rockstar, they've tried their hand at VR before and failed miserably with LA Noire, right? That VR game sucked, in my opinion. That is just my opinion, but I think a lot of people agree with me. And a person like Luke Ross comes along and he makes like what is it? Four of their games playable? No, four of their games. No, excuse me, two of their games playable in VR, and like it just blows them out of the water in terms of what they've done previously themselves with their VR ports. And what I think is going on, this is just me rambling, okay? I have no proof of this whatsoever, but I'm thinking about the PlayStation VR 2. I think they're gonna try something similar to what Vortex is doing, have some form of injection software where you can like inject VR into games that don't have VR. Because I think that like I think they struggled, Sony, with getting enough like great game studios to make things for the PlayStation VR, like the low budget stuff. I don't think people are gonna buy into it as much with the PSVR 2, and to be sure that they're able to sell that headset, I think they'll likely, like I think at some point it's gonna happen that someone like Sony or I don't know Oculus, which is now Meta of course, or someone else, at some point they are going to make something similar to Vortex or similar to what Luke Ross is doing. And I think that's what's going on behind the scenes, that they're doing their own stuff, and then they see like potential competitors like Luke Ross, and they see his popularity, and they're not gonna say why they want it removed, and it might not be obvious before like a year or two down the line, when all of a sudden all of Rockstar's games are playable in VR in the same exact way pretty much on the PlayStation, right? I kind of like feel like that would make sense. However, it doesn't make sense because you can't play Luke Ross's VR mods on PlayStation anyway. But if you think in a broader, like, if you think a little bit more broadly about it, if other um, big companies are thinking of the same thing, right? At some point, you might be able to play something like that on the PC anyway, just made by some huge conglomerate, right? Some huge company like Sony, right? Because like the console days are pretty much over when you're able to, like, I wasn't even I didn't even need to build a stationary desktop PC like the old school way. Here in Norway, I saw that you could even build a laptop with a 30s card. I don't know how that is like in the US and the rest of the world, but that is pretty insane. And you know what, like, it's just getting crazier and crazier. Like cloud gaming, like in a couple of years, those huge consoles, they're gone, man. I can't even imagine how they're gonna sustain that kind of a business in the future. Um, it's kind of like investing into wired VR headsets. They're also going away, right? So things are happening, and I think like with the Quest 2, the poor graphics there and like the low quality on or low budget on many of those games that are made for VR, right? And are playable in VR. I think that if you want to make a big push with VR, you need to get those flat screen games playable in VR. Then people are gonna jump in. And yeah, if you've been into like the flat screen to VR scene, like I don't even play regular games anymore. I don't play flat screen, and I do not play regular VR games. Either I play with Luke Ross's mods, or I play Vorpex, or I play Prey Dog's mods, or some other mods, right? And if I don't know of any mods to play, I will be heading to the flat screen to VR Discord to figure out if there is some mod for VR that I haven't tried. Because it adds just too much to the experience to not do it. You know what I mean? And once people discover that, once more people discover that, yeah, then it's done. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't own a VR headset. That's the thing. If you don't know what I'm saying, then you do not have a VR headset, or your PC is too weak to play these games in VR. However, like I don't think all of Luke Ross's mods are as good. Like I've said that before. I do love the guy. I do love what he's doing, and but the game I've been playing the most is, of course, Cyberpunk, and that is one of my favorite games. I only play it in VR. It's the best way to play it in my experience, or my opinion. So, yeah. Okej, ge dig
You come far today? Sure looks like it.
And another thing is the approach that Luke Ross has taken towards publishing his VR mods. Like he lives off of this stuff, and that is of course one of the reasons why you can have the level of quality that you have with his VR mods, right? Because that's what he does. But at the same time, man, like that's one of the reasons why the mods disappear from the face of the earth when this happens, right? Because if it happened to some other mods where they give it away for free, then people are just gonna share it forever and ever, right? Like if this happened with Outer Wilds, which I never would imagine because that's a game made by indie an indie developer, right? And they think differently from these huge companies. But either way, if it would have happened, then someone else would just keep on sharing it for all of eternity, basically, right? So that is like the main difference, and that I kind of like think that sucks. And the same would have happened like if someone went after a company like Vorpex, like if Ralph had to terminate Vorpex, basically take down the whole site because of some DMCA or something. Then you would then you would lose everything created in that space, right? But with these free mods, like with Prey Dog's Resident Evil VR mods, anyone who's downloaded that thing for free would share it for free after. Like they could never take you down. So that has made me think myself, like I thought about getting into flat screen to VR modding myself, and those of you who follow my channel, you know that I'm learning Unity and I'm learning to program, and I'm into like the whole modding, learning to make mods scene, or what you would call it, right? But after this thing with Luke Ross, I've kind of like started contemplating, like of course I would also love to start a Patreon page and share my mods on there and make money, and like I like having money. I don't like being broke. I don't like working for free anymore than anyone else does. But at the same time, like if some asshole is just gonna come and try to take you down if you do that, like for some weird reason that they don't even have to explain themselves, then I kind of just want to give them the finger and put it out there for free, you know, and just give it to everyone for no cost, because then they could never ever take you down if you do that. So that would be like the ultimate FU to them. But yeah, I wouldn't say that we should do that with Luke Ross, because man, that guy works really hard on this stuff, and like he lives off of making these mods and does some really awesome work. And I hope he like wins this, that they see that that it is wrong to try to have him take them down, take those mods down. And I really hope that no one else comes after him, because like I've said, his Cyberpunk mod is like my favorite flat screen to VR mod, like of them all. That is like my favorite one. So it would suck if he had to take that one down. Thankfully though, Vorpex does have a mod as well, which is free. So, but I'm guessing like if this continues and other big publishers do the same thing, then this will be really dark for VR in general, because it's like a huge setback. The only thing we have that is close to Half-Life Alyx now is the flat screen to VR scene. You know what I mean? Because everyone got that wow moment with Half-Life. And I, for one, never got it again before getting into the flat screen to VR stuff. Like that level of wow. Like there's a lot of great VR games. That's not what I'm saying. That there's not as many, that there's not more great VR games out there. But you know, that AAA quality, you don't get that in VR unless either it is modding or like some huge company like Sony has some launch titles for their headset, and then it just dries out straight away. So that's why I want this. I want the flat screen to VR modding scene to succeed. Like seriously, man. Yeah. This was a long rant, folks. Maybe you disagree with me. If so, that is totally fine. Please write your comments down below. And if you like this stuff, don't forget to subscribe. Okay. Catch you folks on the next one. See ya.